What's going on, guys? It's Trip Fall Down coming at y'all with another video, Marvel's Avengers. So, I've already crafted a BP Black Panther melee build, but I've recently came across some pieces that I was playing around with that I feel like make a better build. The other build is still good, so go check that out. But let's dive into this build and why it makes it so good. First piece in the melee gear, we have the Thoughtless Invulnerability claws. So, I'm not really too worried about the element. We're just doing raw damage, bro. We're just doing raw damage at this point. So, 14.2% chance melee critical hits grant an invulnerability buff. Now you might be thinking, that's kind of low, which it is. It is low. So, that's why this piece is so good. Look at the Relentless Strike, 15% increased chance, critical hit chance from intrinsic attacks. So, we look at that, right? We're like, God damn, that's crazy. 15% increased critical hit chance from intrinsic attacks. Already coupled with our 29.8% chance down there in proficiency. You see that? That's a crazy amount of critical attack chance, right? So, we're going to be spamming our intrinsic attacks, and we're going to be spamming a specific intrinsic attack. Let's go look at that. So we're going to be spamming Spinning Claw. Now, you do not have to do the intrinsic attack with this. You still have a high enough critical chance that some of your hits will do critical hits and will activate. But when I use the intrinsic variety of this, which is down here, the Resolute Power, right? It does pretty much a critical hit every time. So this thing procs a lot of the time. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times where you'll be spamming this and it will not proc. But there are a lot more times where this thing is procking. You'll go in for a combo, it'll continue to proc, the time will just keep resetting, and you're just in the battle just putting in work, throwing kicks, throwing punches. It's just great. And that's pretty much like what's keeping us in battle this whole time. We're not using any piece like this. We're not using this, Armor Enhancements. Even though this is really good, we're not using it because we're invulnerable. We don't need it. So we're gonna go to our chest piece. Obviously, I always rock reactive buff chest pieces, but I will say this: damage buff is not really needed. Look at our melee. Our melee rating is ridiculous. Now, our champion rating does add a little bit to that. We got about 9% more damage out of this, and then our critical hit chance adds to it, and I'm pretty sure this adds to it as well. So we're looking at probably maybe 33k without all these added, which is still not bad. We're still doing hella damage. So you don't really need this, right? If you find a better piece, like I found this piece that I want to test out, and if y'all have this piece, test this out for me. This piece is just going to be doing continual damage when I take damage to enemies, right? So it might be worth it just to proc this and, use it. Or proc this one. This one adds way more. But that damage buff is just so good that I just love clearing out enemies like that so much faster. So I rock that. You can rock anything else. Your damage is already high enough. So if you find a piece that can keep up with your melee rating and you want to test it out, test that shit out. So this piece right here was in my other build. You get it from the vendor in Wakanda, and I have not seen this piece again. I got lucky. So if you cannot get this piece, just make sure you have Rampage Empowerment on there, because that'll keep your intrinsic rating up when you're killing enemies in rapid succession. The takedown thing, yeah, that's not really a part of the build, so if you find something better, good. The reactive pin payload is really good, and if you can get this piece, because this procs way more often than what you think it will, and it just shrinks it. If they're not like adaptoids, higher level enemies, they're instantly getting shrunk with one of these. One shot from the pin payload and they're shrunk, which allows you to do more damage. So it's just synergy. It's just synergy right here. The only thing that doesn't really synergize with our build is our range. With your range, just find a piece that has hella might on it and just put it in there. Now, in my other build, I used a targeted buff gauntlet, and that's how I got my damage buff, but it was so inconsistent compared to this that I barely even used it. So I mean, you can proc the defense buff pretty easily, obviously. So if you want to use this piece to just get a defense buff, which if your vulnerability isn't up, that's even better, because then your defense is up and you can take more hits. You can do that. You can put any piece here you want. I haven't found a better piece so far with might on it at all. Like at all. Not even in my vault do I have a piece that's good, you know? So, I mean, use whatever for your range. We're gonna go quickly over our artifacts. Obviously, red ISO. Try to find you some good levels. I could probably get some better ones, because these are not 5-star at all. So we could probably get some better ones out of this. And obviously, we got the Lethal Will major artifact damage buff. Critical hit chance when damage boost is active. Synergy. Increased duration of damage buff by 4 seconds, which is huge. And then we can proc a damage buff whenever. So whenever you're fighting a boss or anything, boom, pop that damage buff. Do a crazy amount of damage in the beginning, and you're good. So another integral part of this build that I neglect to use all the time, but gives us even more damage, is the Devastating Daggers. Devastating Daggers. You can apply a debuff to enemies 3 times by 3%, right? So you get a 9% increase to damage whenever you stack this, right? 3 times. So this is great for bosses. Get more damage off them. Spam these daggers. I said I know you don't really use daggers. I don't, but you should use these daggers because that's just extra damage. There's also in here, increase the effect of the Devastating Dagger debuff by 30% and the duration that each of the daggers remain in the target by 3 seconds. So I don't know if this is 30% per dagger, but if it is, think about that. So by 30%, it says by 30%, not to 30%. So that's 33% times 3, right? We're looking at a 99% increase in damage, melee damage, when we throw 3 of these daggers at an enemy. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I gained from this. So think about it. That's a hell of a lot of damage. So spam these daggers, man. Spam these daggers. And then I just put all this other stuff on here. This one adds another debuff, so you get 4. So think about that, another 33%. I don't know if that's how it does it, but that's what I'm getting off of that. And then this one is just random. And everything else, critical hit chance right here, boom, while overcharge is active. I don't use percussive blast that much. And defeating an enemy has a 20% chance to drop an intrinsic orb, which is great for keeping our intrinsic attacks going and us fighting, getting that invulnerability buff to keep proccing. Now in our melee, our signature attacks have more chance to interrupt enemies. This is good if you don't have the invulnerability buff up, so enemies don't hit you as much and you don't die as fast. Pounce attacks damage easily. And then we do the form takedown intrinsic orb. So whenever I pop the Kimoyo beads, pop that, get an instant orb, easy. So yeah, we increase our intrinsic threshold right here, and then it automatically regenerates over time. And we also have increased the damage dealt by all heavy intrinsic attacks by 10%. So we're doing that spin claw heavy intrinsic attack, does 10% more damage, and also reduces the amount of damage taken from attacks based on the amount of intrinsic energy stored up to a maximum of 10%. Great. So I would either switch that out with this or this, but this just keeps you alive longer. You can experiment with this one, you can pick this, you can pick this, you can pick this, it doesn't matter. Do what your playstyle is, you know. If you do a whole bunch of melee attacks, it'd probably just be better to do this. But if you just go in, get your spin attack off, hit, do spin attack, it'd probably be better to do the reduced all intrinsic attacks by 15%. So it's just up to you. And yeah, that's the build. I'm going to go and get into a match. We're gonna go do like a regular match, and I'll show off the build, show what I do. We're gonna get on that. So I'll see y'all in the next clip. What is up, guys? We are back, and we're gonna show off this invulnerability buff class. We're gonna go over here to these enemies over here, and I'm gonna try to show off pretty much how I use this build. We're gonna be burning through our intrinsic ability pretty fast, so you won't rely on it too much, but we will have to rely on it. So hold R2, boom, we didn't get it there. We didn't get it there either. We did get our intrinsic recovery, so we get our recovery back. Still pretty good build, right? Even without that. So we've just procced our invulnerability debuff, so that keeps us in battle, right? Woo! So as you can see, as I said before, sometimes it just doesn't proc. Sometimes it just doesn't proc. But sometimes it does. And we're gonna try to get on this big enemy once he drops down. And this should proc it right here. Or not. Let's get it, come on. There we go. Boom, 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 boom. Keeps us in battle. So look, invulnerability, boom, 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 boom. Woo! Damn. We got saved right there. We got that invulnerability buff. We're just gonna go in. We got it back again. So now with this adaptable, it ain't finna do shit. Get out of there. Dodge. You get this, get our intrinsic burst, or intrinsic. Let me just proc invulnerability again. He can't hit us. Nobody can. I am the gingerbread man. Re-proc invulnerability. Boom, 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 boom. Re-proc it again. We're just in battle for so long. We've just re-procced it again. Re-procced it again. See it? What I mean? We re-proc these things, and it just keeps us in battle, right? And it keeps us in battle. And we can keep fighting. We can keep doing our thing, right? It doesn't always proc all the time, as you can see there. I don't want to show y'all it procking multiple times over and over again and giving off some false hits, but it does happen, right? Y'all saw first battle we only got it twice. Second battle it re-proc 6-7 times. So it just keeps you in the battle. It keeps you fighting. You take damage, you get a damage buff, and you just do crazy damage. As you saw before, we didn't even proc our damage with all that too often in that first fight, and we were still putting in crazy damage. Mind you, these enemies are 140 or 150 with pretty good gear, but I've tried this on Omega level threats, and once everything is going and getting going, you still do that damage, and it's still crazy. So everybody test out that build for yourself. If you liked the video, like, comment, and subscribe. Especially if you try to build out and you like it. If you have any critiques, put them down in the comments. And I'll see you boys later. Peace out.